There's no way that you could watch Michael Jordan and LeBron James and think that Michael Jordan is not the GOAT. So let me break it down for you. Michael Jordan has 10 scoring titles. Michael Jordan was a 9-time All-NBA defensive team member. Michael Jordan won 6 titles, 6 NBA Finals MVPs, never once allowed a game to get to a championship series to get to a game 7. Never once. Even before Michael Jordan won the title in 91, from 88 on, it was clear that Michael Jordan, even with Larry Bird or Magic Johnson winning championships, it was clear that Michael Jordan was the best player in the world.
Into the middle of the chaos and completely shifted the conversation with one ruthless take. He basically said that if you truly watched Michael Jordan in his prime, there's no way you could honestly put LeBron ahead of him in the GOAT debate.
Michael Jordan has 10 scoring titles. Michael Jordan was a 9-time All-NBA defensive team member. Michael Jordan won 6 titles, 6 NBA Finals MVPs, never once allowed a game to get to a championship series to get to a game 7. Never once. That was in his 13 years in Chicago. We ain't counting the 2 years with the Wizards. He was trying to become an owner, and they needed him to come out of retirement to have an ownership stake. That's what they needed.
Stephen A. Smith completely turned the GOAT debate into a battlefield after that playoff performance from LeBron James, and one sentence from him was enough to set social media on fire. He wasn't holding back at all either. You could hear the frustration in his voice, like he was genuinely tired of people questioning Michael Jordan's legacy in the first place. This wasn't one of those calm sports debates where people respectfully compare eras and move on. Stephen A. came in swinging. He started breaking down Jordan's entire resume piece by piece, the scoring titles, the elite defense, the championships, the finals MVPs, and especially that iconic 6-0 record in the NBA Finals that still hangs over every GOAT conversation like a shadow nobody can escape. But the point he kept hammering harder than anything else was the fact that Michael Jordan never even needed a Game 7 in the finals during his run with the Chicago Bulls. To Stephen A., that wasn't just impressive, that was complete domination. In his mind, Jordan wasn't surviving playoff series, he was crushing them before opponents even had time to believe they could win. The way Stephen A. described it, Jordan sounded less like a basketball player and more like a nightmare teams already accepted before the game even tipped off. He kept pushing this idea that Jordan created a completely different level of pressure compared to modern superstars. According to him, teams didn't just lose to Jordan, they got mentally destroyed by him. Entire organizations spent years trying to recover after running into those Bulls teams. Coaches changed systems, front offices panicked and reshaped rosters, and players carried those playoff losses with them long after the season ended. That's the level of intimidation Stephen A. believes separates Jordan from everyone else. And once LeBron's name got brought back into the conversation, Stephen A. drew a very clear line between greatness and fear. He made it obvious that he respects everything LeBron has accomplished, but then he dropped another statement that instantly had fans arguing everywhere. Respect is not the same thing as fear. In Stephen A.'s eyes, Jordan brought real fear into arenas in a way the NBA has barely seen before. Not pressure. Not nerves. Actual fear. The kind where teams already felt beaten before the opening quarter even started. What made Durant hit even harder was how emotional Stephen A. sounded while saying it. At that point, it didn't even feel like analysis anymore, it felt personal. He painted this picture where the entire energy of an arena changed the second Jordan walked onto the court. Teams weren't just trying to beat him, they were trying to survive the embarrassment of what could happen if he caught fire. And according to Stephen A., that terrifying aura is exactly why the Michael Jordan versus LeBron James debate refuses to disappear no matter how many years pass. Teams stepped onto the court hoping they wouldn't get embarrassed on national television, hoping Jordan wouldn't expose every weakness in their game before halftime even arrived. That's the atmosphere Stephen A. keeps talking about when he explains why he believes Jordan still sits above LeBron in the GOAT debate. For him, it's never been only about basketball skill. It's about psychological pressure, intimidation, and the feeling that an entire team could mentally collapse the moment Jordan started heating up. At the same time, Stephen A. made sure people understood that he absolutely respects LeBron James and everything he's accomplished. He called LeBron one of the greatest players in NBA history, easily on the Mount Rushmore of basketball legends and comfortably top 3 all-time depending on who you ask. So this isn't one of those fake debates where someone pretends LeBron was never dominant. Stephen A. fully understands how incredible LeBron has been for more than 20 years. But the second people start placing him above Michael Jordan, that's when Stephen A.'s tone completely changes and he goes into full attack mode. He kept circling back to the same Jordan resume over and over because, in his eyes, those accomplishments still carry unbelievable weight decades later. The scoring titles, the lockdown perimeter defense, the championships, the finals MVPs, and especially that untouchable 6-4-6 finals record without ever needing a Game 7. To Jordan fans, that stat is almost sacred. In their minds, it proves that once Jordan reached the biggest stage, there was never any doubt about the outcome. No panic, no hesitation, no second chances for the other side. He showed up, took control, and slammed the door shut every single time.
He hit the three, he got to the free throw line, made free throws, and everybody kind of, chipped in. It was just a gutty win for us.
Stephen A. made it sound like Michael Jordan didn't just win championships, he controlled entire eras of basketball. That's why he believes Jordan's legendary status was earned naturally, not created by nostalgia or old highlights. The way he talks about those Chicago Bulls years, it almost feels like he sees them as something completely different from anything the NBA has experienced since. Not because Jordan was flashy, but because teams genuinely looked defeated before games even fully started. That fear factor keeps becoming the centerpiece of Stephen A.'s entire argument. Then he started diving into how defenses reacted to Jordan back in that era, bringing up the famous Jordan rules and explaining why that matters so much in the GOAT debate. Teams weren't creating brutal defensive schemes because Jordan was just another superstar putting up points. They built entire systems specifically to survive him. Coaches changed physicality, defensive rotations, spacing, and overall game plans because one player forced the league to rethink basketball strategy from the ground up. To Stephen A., that level of influence proves Jordan's impact went way beyond statistics or championships. But what made the conversation more interesting was the fact that Stephen A. didn't pretend LeBron lacked greatness in other areas. He openly admitted that LeBron might actually be the more complete all-around basketball player. Scoring, passing, rebounding, controlling the pace, defending multiple positions, carrying massive minutes, LeBron has done basically everything possible on a basketball court for years. Especially in today's NBA, where roster instability and non-stop pressure can wear superstars down fast, LeBron has often carried enormous responsibility without always having perfectly built championship teams around him. And that matters because even LeBron's critics understand the insane expectations he's dealt with since he was a teenager. The pressure surrounding him has been non-stop for most of his life. But Stephen A. still doesn't believe that changes the final answer in the GOAT debate. In his mind, the conversation eventually moves past stats and turns into something harder to measure: mentality. According to Stephen A., Jordan entered the NBA already wired differently from everyone else. He didn't need years to learn how to dominate massive moments or become ruthless under pressure. Stephen A. talks about Jordan almost like he naturally understood how to mentally break opponents from day one. Meanwhile, he argues that LeBron grew into that killer mentality gradually over time instead of instantly owning it from the beginning. That opinion always explodes online because LeBron fans point to the unbelievable pressure he carried throughout his career, while Jordan fans keep going back to the terrifying aura Jordan brought every single night. Stephen A. leaned heavily into that old-school mindset again here. In his eyes, LeBron commands admiration and respect across the league, but Jordan brought something colder into arenas, something intimidating. And once the debate shifts toward mentality, presence, and fear, suddenly it feels bigger than championships or stat sheets. It becomes about energy. About how opponents emotionally reacted before the game even tipped off. Stephen A. believes Jordan made teams uncomfortable in a way very few athletes in sports history ever have. LeBron, meanwhile, earned respect through longevity, brilliance, and versatility. But according to Stephen A., Jordan made grown professionals nervous before they even stepped on the floor, and that's the difference he refuses to let people ignore. In the end, Stephen A.'s entire argument comes down to this: LeBron James earns respect and admiration from players around the NBA, but Michael Jordan created something far more intense than that. In his eyes, Jordan walked onto the court already making opponents feel uneasy before the opening possession even happened.